Imagine writing a song, recording it in your own bedroom, uploading it to the internet, and then boom, immediately being slapped with a copyright strike for basically pirating your own voice.
Right, which sounds completely absurd.
It really does. But if you dig deep into the fine print of the platforms that we use every single day, I mean, that is exactly what you agree to if you aren't careful. So, welcome back to the deep dive. To you, the learner, we are so glad you're here.
Absolutely.
Because today our mission is to look under the hood of the creator economy, right? We're looking at the January 2026 artist subscription terms and copyright guidelines from SoundCloud. And it's not just magic making this all work. It is a massive, highly intricate engine of contract law, intellectual property rights, and, microeconomies.
Yeah, and to kind of set the scene for you, the learner, I want you to imagine I'm standing in front of this massive music studio mixing board, right? Thousands of knobs and sliders.
Yeah.
Because when you upload an audio file, you might think you're just moving some data from your laptop to a server.
Just dragging and dropping a file.
Right. Exactly. But legally, you are plugging into a highly automated enforcement system. The terms we're looking at today are the literal architectural blueprints for how that system decides, who gets a voice, who gets paid, and, well, who gets silenced.
Man, that is a wild way to look at it because the platform basically divides the world into a few distinct buckets. You got your casual fans who just want to listen, and then the creator side, which is hobbyists, testing the waters, working artists, and massive power users.
Right, and legally they treat those groups very differently.
Yeah.
Like if you were just a fan with a listening subscription, something like a Go or DJ plan that operates on a totally different track from the creator plans, you might use the exact same login. But the billing cycles, the features, the legal agreements, they're entirely separate universes.
Okay, let's unpack this because the literal first step of the creator journey, just getting an account, has this mechanical delay that really caught my eye.
Oh, the contract conclusion.
Yeah. If I am on the site, I pick a professional tier, like Artist Pro or whatever. I enter my credit card and I hit the subscribe button. I just naturally assume we are instantly in business, right? Money changed hands, the deal is done. But the terms explicitly state the contract is not concluded when you make the payment.
Yeah.
What is the holdup there?
What's fascinating here is that it relies on a very specific mechanic in contract law. It's the distinction between an offer and an acceptance.
Okay.
When you submit your payment info and hit subscribe, legally, you are merely making an offer to the platform. You're basically saying, hey, I would like to rent space on your servers. Here's my money. The platform does not actually conclude the contract until they send you a confirmation email or, actively turn your account on.
But why build in that legal buffer? I mean, if I walk into a store and hand the cashier a $20 bill for a T-shirt, the store doesn't say, we'll let you know in 5 minutes if we accept this offer.
Right. But a physical store isn't dealing with 1 million digital transactions a second.
That's fair.
In the digital space, the platform has an absolute non-negotiable need to maintain control over who accesses its infrastructure. What if a known bad actor tries to sign up using a stolen credit card?
Or like a botnet or something.
Exactly. What if a massive botnet tries to buy 10,000 accounts all at once? Or, honestly, what if there is simply a massive server outage on their end?
Oh, I see. So if the contract concluded the literal second my card was charged and their servers were down?
They would technically be in breach of contract.
Wow.
Precisely. By separating the payment from the contract conclusion, they haven't legally committed to providing you a service just because a payment processor authorized your card. The legal handshake only happens when they officially invite you in.
So the platform tightly controls the entrance door, but once you are inside, how they handle the space you occupy is really fascinating.
It really is.
Let's say you get an Artist Pro plan. You're paying monthly or maybe doing the annual auto renewal. If they suddenly decide to jack up the price, or worse, they do I think the term is material reduction in features.
Yes, a material reduction.
Right, meaning they take away a tool you literally rely on to run your podcast or distribute your music. They can't just spring that on you overnight. They are required to give you a full 6-week advance notice before it takes effect on your next renewal.
Which is such a crucial protection for the creator. It gives you time to migrate your audience to a different platform if you don't like the new terms. But it gets really interesting when we look at how you change your own plan.
Oh, the upgrades versus downgrades.
Right. Upgrades and downgrades operate on two entirely different timelines.
Yeah, if you want to give them more money and upgrade to a higher tier, they are thrilled. They charge you the prorated difference immediately, your renewal date shifts, and boom, you get your shiny new features instantly.
Naturally.
But if you downgrade, you actually have to wait. Like if you decide on day 2 of your billing cycle that you want a cheaper plan, you still keep your premium features until the end of the month. They do not give you a prorated refund for the days you decided you didn't want the pro features anymore.
Though there is one geographical exception to this, just as a quick caveat for our listeners over there.
Oh, the EU stuff.
Yeah, if you live in the European Union, the EEA, or the UK, consumer protection laws give you a strict 14-day right of withdrawal. You can back out, no questions asked, and get a full refund to your original payment method.
Just completely back out of the contract.
Right. But even then, if you actually use the premium tools during those 14 days, they will prorate the refund based on your usage. They aren't going to let you distribute a whole album for free and then cancel on day 13.
Yeah, which is pretty standard consumer law over there. But let's talk about the actual technical limits of these tiers. Because this is where the physical reality of servers meets the ambition of creators.
The physical constraints, yes.
The terms state that individual files cannot exceed 4 gigabytes. And for most tiers, like the basic or standard artist tier, your total monthly uploads are capped at 20 hours. Now, if you are on an unlimited tier like Next Pro or Artist Pro, you can upload as many hours as you want, but you still have to respect that 4 gigabyte limit per individual file.
Right. And 4 gigabytes for a single audio file is absolutely massive.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
I mean, that is hours and hours of uncompressed, lossless audio in a single track.
But is it really just about server protection, though? I mean, storage is incredibly cheap in 2026. Isn't capping features or file sizes also just a strategic way to, force power users to eventually hit a wall and upgrade to higher pricing tiers?
Well, it's always a mix of both. Yes, static storage is relatively cheap, but bandwidth is not.
Moving the files around.
Exactly. If you have 10 million creators constantly uploading and downloading 4 gigabyte raw project files, the network egress costs, the actual financial cost of moving that data through the internet pipes becomes astronomical. The limit forces creators to compress their work, which keeps the platform's infrastructure costs predictable.
That makes total sense. But here is the mechanic I found absolutely brilliant. Let's say you are on an unlimited plan, right? And you have uploaded, 100 hours of audio over the last year. Then money gets tight, and you downgrade to a basic plan, which only allows a few hours of uploads. What happens to all your extra audio?
They don't delete it.
They don't. They hide it. It's like downgrading from a huge mansion to a tiny studio apartment. They don't throw your extra furniture out into the street. They lock it in a storage unit. You can't show it off to guests anymore. Nobody can stream those hidden tracks. But you can still go into that storage unit and manage the files.
And if we look at the psychology behind why they do that, it's a perfect application of behavioral economics. Specifically, the endowment effect.
That's the idea that we value things more simply because we own them, right?
Exactly. You already feel like you own that server space.
Yeah.
Your entire archive of hard work is sitting right there, just barely out of reach. If they simply deleted your files, you would be furious.
Oh, I'd be livid.
Right. The relationship would be severed, and if you ever got money again, you might just take your business to a competitor out of spite.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But by hiding them, they create this intense psychological friction. The moment you have a few extra dollars, you are highly motivated to just click upgrade and instantly unlock your archives rather than starting all over from scratch somewhere else.
It's so brilliant. They preserve user trust while basically keeping you hooked into their ecosystem. But storage space is really just one part of the equation here. We also have to look at how you actually use the platform's tools, like pushing your music out to other places.
Right, the distribution side.
Yeah, and this is regulated by something they call the credits system.
Which is very structured. Some premium features aren't just, unlimited taps you can leave running in the background. They operate on a strict monthly allowance using an internal currency called a credit. 1 credit equals 1 specific action.
So the text notes that distributing one track to third-party DSPs costs 1 credit. And for the listener, a DSP is a digital service provider. Places like Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, or even like TikTok sounds. The platform acts as your delivery truck to those storefronts. And if you want to deliver an EP that has 3 tracks on it, well, that is going to cost you 3 credits. Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Why use a credit system at all? I mean, why not just say, your tier gives you 10 uploads a month, like a normal bullet point on a pricing page?
Because treating it as a literal token creates a highly regulated internal economy. These credits become available the moment your subscription activates, but they strictly expire at the end of every month.
They just vanish.
They do not roll over, they cannot be transferred to another user, and they have absolutely zero cash value.
It sounds like arcade tokens that literally melt in your pocket when you walk out the door of the arcade.
That is essentially what they are. And from an engineering standpoint, it's a vital traffic shaping mechanism.
How so?
Imagine if credits rolled over. A creator might hoard a year's worth of distribution credits, right? And then suddenly hit the system with a massive automated upload of 1,000 tracks on a random Tuesday.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The servers would spike, the human review teams would be totally overwhelmed. By forcing credits to expire monthly, the platform smooths out the demand. It forces creators to drip feed their content, which makes the platform's daily operational load entirely predictable.
Okay, I follow the logic on server loads. That's smart. But here's a scenario. I spend my one hard-earned credit to push a track to Spotify. Tomorrow, the track gets ripped down because of a copyright claim. Do I get my credit back?
Yo.
Not at all.
Nope. The only time they bend the rule is if a feature technically fails on their end, like a software bug in the distribution pipeline. In that case, they might refund the credit.
Okay, well, that's something.
But even then, the refunding credit expires at the end of the following month. Use it or lose it. If your track is taken down for a copyright violation, that is entirely on you. Your credit is gone, and honestly, you might lose your account altogether.
Which perfectly bridges us into the most dangerous part of this entire blueprint. The absolute minefield of intellectual property law, the copyright guidelines.
Yes, the big one.
And these terms do not mess around. They start by defining what copyright actually is. It is the exclusive legal right to control how a work is copied, adapted, publicly performed, broadcasted, and distributed on the internet.